Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Gamers Thoughts discussion. And this time I'm going to be talking about Sonic Colors Ultimate Switch. Because there have been some false reports coming out that the game is extremely glitchy, specifically on the Switch. And there have been videos posted to like Twitter and other social media platforms by people running Sonic Colors 8 Ultimate in Yuzu, which is the Nintendo Switch emulator for PC. And the game glitches out when people haven't updated their emulator. Like it's missing some plugins and things that are necessary to make the game run, at least as far as I know. And this mostly came out because people who use the Yuzu emulator noticed some of the tics of the glitching in Sonic Colors Ultimate on the Switch that happen with games being run through the Yuzu emulator. So, and that's not to say that Sonic Colors Ultimate doesn't have some issues across all platforms. It does. But there were people exaggerating the issues by using emulators and playing the game on those, and not actually stating that. Because everybody that I've seen share these basically corrupt glitchy versions of this game, they all shared it like they were sharing it directly from a Switch. And I'm going to assume that if the Yuzu emulator is emulating a Switch, then it allows you the same features that the Switch does outside of, being portable. So, looking at them, like, y'all really did this to exaggerate this situation and probably could have caused a class action lawsuit against Sega for this game being in this condition, just for people to turn around and come and find out it was being faked. Now, that puts whoever you guys that did this, it puts you on the hot seat. Because now you have falsely represented something as if it was fact. And that could have been damaging to the company. Yeah, maybe you guys were just doing it for fun and trying to see how many people you could trick. But if this did get to the point of being a class action lawsuit and Sega could have proved the opposite was the truth, and then found you, you'd be screwed. And actually, I think at this point, they may still be potentially capable of suing the people that did do this. I don't know the ins and outs and logistics of it. I am not a media software lawyer of any kind. But I'm just thinking this logically through. And that may be an open possibility because they were misrepresenting it. Actually, they may even be able to be sued by Nintendo because they were misrepresenting the hardware of the Switch and saying that the hardware of the Switch and the game were both causing this issue. So there's a lot of different potential avenues that this could go wrong in. And I think that that's where people didn't think it fully through. Because one person probably saw someone do it and said, oh, I know what they're doing. I'm going to get in on this and do it too. I mean, honestly, there's no real harm done. But you just drew attention away from the actual potential issues with the game that could have been fixed in a legitimate manner quickly. But, again, it's one of those situations where I personally would be like, okay, there's a bunch of people faking. Let's not give them any more attention outside of maybe just talking about it to clear the air on what actually happened. But outside of that, it's like, What do you do with this situation? Not much, honestly. Because, I mean, I even was a little confused when I saw a couple of those videos, and I was like, this is a Wii game. Even if you gussied it up a little bit, maybe added a couple things to it, it's still a Wii game at its base, which means that the hardware that it was meant to run on is far, far, far insignificant in comparison to everything else that's being put on now. So that's where my confusion was. I'm like, I mean, yes, I do know that coding does matter. You would actually have to pay attention to how the coding was edited to work on each of these platforms. But still, I'm like, in the most general of senses, everything should be able to brute force this game to run properly. But that would also be considered if it stayed at the same resolution and they didn't clean up everything a little bit, which they did do. And that does come with more data and space being used. But again, if a remake / remaster like Xenoblade Chronicles can happen, and we're getting and Skyward Sword HD can happen, Sonic Colors shouldn't have any trouble running on anything that is this generation. They really shouldn't. 8th or 9th. They should not have any trouble running on any of these platforms outside of somebody not knowing what they're doing with the game and how to code it. Which is a possibility. Because I also found out that Sega had outsourced this, and I thought Sega was doing this internally. No, they outsourced it. So that could be the reason for some of the problems that cropped up. Because the original team that worked on it didn't work on the conversion. At least that would be my opinion. And I think that the team that they had do it really isn't that experienced just yet. At least from what I remember hearing about work they have done before. So, again, and I think they did WWE 2K and what other game did they do that was on the Switch? And they just came out poorly. So that's where the assumption will come from. But for the most part, a lot of this stuff was faked stuff that people posted when it came down to Sonic Colors Ultimate. And yeah, that sucks, but it's also a relief to know that the game didn't come out as in as horrible a condition as people thought it did. And I think really that these things cropped up because there were a lot of people saying, well, this game can't run properly on the Switch. It's a Wii game. Like, no matter how you slice it, it's still a Wii game. Which, I get that, and that updating the textures and stuff and adding in more effects increases the size of the file and the information being processed. But the point that I'm making is that if there's any issue with this game running on any platform at this point in time, that's an issue with the team that developed it. Not to the extreme of these deep fakes, basically, but there are still some issues that bother people, and they stick out a little bit like a sore thumb. But from what I've heard, that many of those issues are actually across the board outside of some minor ones that don't actually affect gameplay. At least not heavily. But I don't want to drag this subject on any more than I already have. I think I've done enough of that. But we're in we're a little bit into an age of where people can use their PCs to fake a game off of a console and then say, yeah, this looks horrible. This is running poorly because of emulators and the emulator not being properly updated. So you just got to keep your eyes out for that type of stuff. But that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out, everybody. Okay, so this is YouTube specific because I've already posted the discussion on Anchor. But apparently some of those glitches that were happening in Silent Colors do actually happen on Switch hardware, but not all of them. There were definitely some graphical issues and things of that nature. Again, that's all down to the coding from the team who did the work on repurposing the game for the Switch and every other platform. There are still some similar issues happening with the PS4, the Xbox One, and on PC. So as far as I'm concerned, it definitely is a coding issue and a development issue rather than a hardware issue. But that's it. Just wanted to throw that in there because more information came to light after that discussion was released on Anchor, and I don't want to have this posted and make people think that I don't know about the updated stuff. That's all. Again, peace out, everybody.